So my name is Ypatios, Ypatios Moysiadis. I am a mentor, coach, and angel, mostly in the sustainability, renewable energy sectors. I've worked with tens of startups, growth companies, even corporates. I have 2 successful exits over the past 10 years. And I've worked in projects totaling more than €1 billion, mainly in the renewable energy sector. I've done about 500 megawatts of projects. We will say, what is this megawatt thing? So it's enough to power Manchester with renewable green energy. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is something that keeps on happening. So I was actually in Monaco. I was going around the little port with my family, and I had my phone ringing. And it was someone that was pitching or wanted an appointment to pitch for an idea that he has on something which was very close to my heart, to what I do. So I'm all for green, I'm all for impact investment. Let's save the planet. Technology to change things are here now. We don't have to discover something in the future to change things. So it was very close to me. And I agree with Andrew that you have to be engaged on a personal level. You have to be engaged. You have to believe on someone's vision in order to be able to invest. And he was starting talking to me, and when I said, ask some very basic questions, have you have market validation? Have you tested your product in the market? Or is it just in an idea stage? Oh no, it's just in an idea stage. And how much do you want for it? Oh, I want 500,000. I was like, you want to raise 500,000 for something which is on an idea stage? So I took out my phone and I did a video which I've uploaded in my YouTube channel. And it was just mind-blowing to me that someone was asking for that kind of money without some basic characteristics. So what I will do today is I will take you first of all through some numbers, and I love my numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you should learn your numbers. So we will create some sort of a scenario why selling is important. And then I will actually show you some ways that you can start selling, okay? So let's get this, it's here. Is it not working? Is it working? Andrew, is this working? Maybe not. So, not working? Don't worry, I'll figure it out. So, some facts, guys. We have about 4.2 million of registered companies in the UK. About 99.9% of those are actually SMEs. And out of those, 96% are micro businesses. All right? How I would perhaps easily break things down is I would very quickly ask whether you have your VAT registered. So have you passed the VAT threshold? If you pass the VAT threshold, then you're considered as a business. If you haven't, then you're not. Simple as that. Yeah? So this is how many micro businesses you have in the UK. Now, this is a very interesting figure where you have incorporations and dissolutions. And I just wanted to present some figures. I did a very quick search this morning and preparing the slides. And you will see 2 dips, one in 93 and one in 2009, 2008. Yeah? So these were the only two periods where we had more dissolutions than we had incorporations. So it is a fact that if you look at the numbers in 2019, we're actually living in a startup age. And this is further proof. Out of these companies, which the average age is 8.5 years, pretty much around 50% of those companies are young companies, companies that could be considered as startups. Now to the big questions. Is funding available for the startups? What kind of choices do I have for the funding? So now, first of all, you go to the banks, yeah? And the bank said, okay, first of all, I need your business plan. You cannot even open a business account or a bank account without a business plan. Why? Because banks want to validate your ideas. They value their time, and they say, if I have to put an hour of my time to open your bank account, you should be able to provide enough evidence, and you should be able to give me correct or plausible assumptions within your business plan. So the idea that I can just do something without proper planning, for me, doesn't work. So a perhaps ready business plan for me wouldn't work. And do we have funding for the banks, from the banks? Well, in most cases, no. Especially if you don't have collateral, if you're not employed, if you don't have income from another source, then it will be pretty much impossible for you to get debt financing from any bank institution. Now, crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a very interesting thing. A lot of buzz around crowdfunding. I'm going to run the campaign, and I'm going to raise this, and I'm going to raise that. Yes, it works, but it works on a very specific terms. Your idea needs to be validated. Usually the successful crowdfunding campaigns are from companies that are revenue generating, and they have a very solid plan, a very solid team, and perhaps team with years of experience. And there's something else that I wanted to point out here. It's a different thing from someone who has 20 years of experience in a specific sector, has the connections, has the network, to come and ask money for an idea, or someone perhaps that has 5 or 10 successful exits to come and ask for money for an idea. Then you will give him money because you believe to the person. You believe at his experience. You believe at his track record. It's a different thing from a graduate to come and ask for money with zero experience. That's completely different. And I had people saying to me, yeah, but this such and such did it. Well, such and such and such and such had 20 years of experience in a specific sector. So he knew his sector inside out. His idea derived through or from the inside of the sector. So be very conscious when you do your crowdfunding campaigns. And now to the angels. To the angels. Oxford Economics says that we have about 15,000 angel-backed businesses. Excellent. Perfect. But from all this, you will have to start looking at some very specific demographics. Andrew said that angel investors are mostly in his age. I would back that up. Most angel investors are white male at around 52 years old. I'm 40 as well, so don't worry. So they have at least 8 years of experience, or they've been entrepreneurs in their life. So they've been through the ranks. They've earned their stripes. Yeah? They will invest between 25,000 and they will follow up with 7,500. Last month, we did a new investment. We've raised 100,000 literally in 10 minutes. With a syndicate of people. And this week we had the pledge of about 2 million for the same investment. It's on development, okay? And what you will see is that specific people tend to invest with people they like. So they create, if you would like, syndicates, yeah? Or they create corporations, and they invest always together. Or they invest on something that they feel very comfortable with. Usually, they want a very large equity share, especially if it's a very early stage startup. There was a gentleman here asked about how can you evaluate your ideas. Ideas don't worth anything. You cannot evaluate an idea. Especially for me, it was an honored gentleman at the back. I'm sorry, I have to be the bad guy. For me, ideas don't worth anything. That's a very, very personal opinion. If you can validate your idea in the market, then yes, let's talk about it. And if you think, guys, that pitching or startup level on this level is difficult, I will tell you one other stage which is even more difficult. If you're successful to raise money and you have investors on board, then this is twice more difficult to manage than this pitching stage or this initial stage. And also, the last point I have to make is that angels do invest on an emotional basis. We need to somehow connect. The bad news is that 80% of the startups fail year 1, about 44% will survive until year 5. So these are your statistics. Funny enough, what is the biggest problem that SMEs and startups face? Sales. I cannot attract customers. Nobody wants to buy from me. I don't have money to invest in Facebook ads. And even increasing revenue, which is 59%, is very, very closely related to it, isn't it? So sales is key to the survival and sustainability of your business. It all comes down to sales. And then people are asking me, Ypatios, how are we going to sell? What are we going to do? How can we attract more customers? Well, there is no magic wand. We're not Harry Potters. We've been very privileged, or I've been very privileged to be, if you would like, coached by Daniel Priestley. Daniel Priestley is a successful author and coach in the UK. And one of the things that Daniel says is that entrepreneurship is about reverse engineering the future. So your sales plan should start of how do you see your business 3 to 5 years from now. This will give you the basic figures. So start by creating a very rough sketch of how your business will look in 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Am I going to have 12 employees, 50 employees? Am I going to be a lifestyle business? Am I going to be a performance business? How many departments am I going to have? How many people? What is the expected P&L that I'm going to have? And this is how much I need to generate in order to make this organogram work. So this is where your sales plan starts. This can give you your basic figure, perhaps how much you should be selling every unit of whatever you sell, either services or products. There are 3 main characters, and you should be extremely aware of these characters because each one has a different role. You have the ideator, which is pretty much the entrepreneur, the doer, which is the manager, and the investor. So when you sell, when you pitch, put yourself into the other roles. Maybe you're not the ideal manager for your business. Maybe you have a great idea, but you're not the ideal manager. Maybe you should start thinking as an investor because before you go out and start asking for money. The first question I'm asking is, how much money have you put in your business? Do you have your credit cards filled up? Have you taken any loans? If someone says, I want 30,000 pounds to do such and such, why don't you go to the bank? Why are you coming to me for 30,000? So if you're not willing to take a loan or take credit cards for 30,000 pounds and you're looking for someone else to pay your 30,000 pounds, there's something wrong in this equation. So have skin in the game. And time is not always something that you can claim that you have skin in the game. So how do we sell, guys? People don't buy drill bits, they buy holes. that means that we need to start looking at what is the end result that someone wants to achieve. Why do they want to buy drill bits? Do they want to buy drill bits because they're beautiful? Because they're useful? They want to buy because they want to drill holes. Simple as that. And then there's something else. And I always say that, find your intersection. So my intersection lies between entrepreneurship and sustainability. When I talk about that, I'm very passionate. I'm very knowledgeable. And I can transmit that. I can make you believe that I'm knowledgeable on a specific area, on a specific sector. We tend to find that successful businesses and successful sales come from people that they are able to communicate their passion, their vision. Yeah? I had someone last year, one of my mentees, saying to me, Ypatios, I want to do an app which will be a digital a concierge service. And I said, have you picked up the phone? Have you actually provided to anyone concierge services? Do you like it? Oh no, but I think it's going to be very profitable. That's not a reason to start a business. It might be a good idea, but that's not necessarily an idea good for business. And this will prohibit you to sell because you will not be able to put your passion behind this. These are the sustainable goals. I have aligned myself with some of these. I find it extremely useful if you can align your businesses with a sustainable goal. You will be able to talk about it, you will be able to communicate on those levels, and you will be able to engage someone on an emotional level. So think about it. Now, customer states. We have 3 customer states. One is the red state. So the red state is when a client doesn't know about his problem, or they do not perceive a problem as a problem. Number 2 is the amber state. They have acknowledged the problem, but they are researching how to overcome it. So they're looking for someone, and they're looking for testimonials. They're looking to someone to answer their questions. Number 3 is that clients are ready, but their decisions are based on studies, testimonials, providers, reputation, and professional material. So if you have a business, you're selling a service, or you're selling a product, and you have 0 Q&As, you have 0 videos communicating what it is that you're selling, what problem are you solving, how are you going to sell? And why should someone buy from you? Imagine yourself that you're in a restaurant, you're very hungry, there's a new restaurant opened around the corner, you go there, you're dying for a curry, and then suddenly you have the chef calling you in saying, Ypatios, come in. So you go into the kitchen, say, oh, look at my new pans, look at my new kitchen, but look at my new knives, smell how beautiful my ingredients are. And you say, mate, I'm hungry. Just cook something. But you say, but no, please, look at my knives, look at my pans. 99% of the businesses do that. We say, we are providing services. We are providing products. So look at our knives, look at our pans. We don't address the problem of the client. We don't speak to them in their language. We don't solve what they want to solve, the problem that they want to solve. So we're not selling services, but we're selling solution to a problem. These 2 examples, I found them very good. There were discussion about railroads in America. And suddenly they've started realizing that we're not in the railroad business, but actually we are in the transportation business. This is how the perception of what you sell can change. And when this changes, you start changing your narrative. You start changing your story. you start changing the questions that you're answering. Yeah? Same thing in Virgin. They're not in airline business, they're in entertainment. So you see how the same business can start having a different story. They can start engaging clients on a different level. Perhaps you should think how this applies to what you do. Something which again and again comes up. Oh, I have clients, I'm selling something for 2,000, but they cannot afford it, so I have to go cheaper. No, if your clients cannot afford you, they're not your ideal clients. You have done something wrong. You haven't done properly your research. You haven't specified specifically what your target audience is. So there's something wrong here. I did that with Andrew and everybody else in the Masters in Entrepreneurship in the class. And I see Lydia there. Lydia, I love your videos through your diamond laboratory. It was great.
Thank you.
So you need to be able to identify 3 main problems that your service or product solves. And you need to be able to talk about it. So think that you're offering service to schools, you're offering equipment you're offering PE kit, and you're selling that to the head teacher. What are the questions that the head teacher will ask? So brainstorm with your team, write down your questions, and answer all these questions. And then create a video giving them the answers. I'm picking on Lydia. Most of Lydia's clients are saying to Lydia, you're doing ethical diamonds. They're lab-grown diamonds. How does this lab look like? Is it like a nuclear lab? Or is it something different? So she did a video on how the lab looks like. That's one of the questions that your clients have. So you answered that question. She could have written an article. She could have done a post. But she chose a more effective way, which is to create a video with her own mobile phone. Videos don't have to be professionally made. You can pick up your phone and create something. And it's about what you say, not about the quality of the video that you do. So integrate technology in your communications. So an exercise that I go through with all the businesses that I coach is this: identify your segment or your market segments, brainstorm with your team, provide your customers with adequate testimonials, have your customers talking about your product, your service. And also give him a process. One of the biggest questions is, how are you going to deliver that? You're offering a service, you're going to do a website for me. How are you going to do that? So give them some simple steps. People are buying things because they have a specific problem. So they buy things because they want to save or make money, they want to save time, or they want to satisfy something which is emotional. And emotion could be hunger, could be love, could be anything. Stress. So try to create your message on those base levels. How do we perhaps, someone who was the other Andrew, who was talking about a story and objections. So I was giving them in the class, if you have someone giving you an objection about your product or service, you need to be able to address this objection. Yeah? So you have 3 types of objections. You have a primary objection, an internal objection, and an external objection. So a primary objection is something that would say, for example, you're selling bikes, and you're selling bikes to a company, and someone says, bikes are actually for kids. That's a primary objection. So you need to tell them, to give them perhaps a story, to give them an example of how bikes are actually good for their company, for their employees. By doing that, you address a primary objection. Their ability, I'm too fat to ride a bike. So you need to tell them why they're not fat and and how should riding a bike help them. Yeah? Andrew? We should ride bikes more, you and I. And then an external objection. Bikes are too expensive. I don't have money for the bikes. But actually you do, because you're going to save on commuting. So again, you give him an answer to the objection. So with all your, within all your questions that you need to answer, try to identify the objections of your clients and give them a plausible, if you would like, or a realistic response. And then you have to do your leads, appointments, presentations, and sales, yeah? Andrew was talking about picking up the phone. If you have 100 people in a room and you give a presentation about a service or a product, about 3% of them, perhaps they're ready to buy now. Yeah? Perhaps they've seen the product, perhaps they've came to the presentation, or they came to your shop because they know exactly what they want to buy. About 7% perhaps are looking to buy in the next 90 days. That means that, I need to research it a bit more, I need to get one more offer, I need to go to the other shop and see how much it is there. Yeah? About 40% perhaps are going to buy your product or service in the next 2 years. However, this 70% is extremely, you have to be in their face in order for them to buy for you. You have to be on the top of their list. How do you do that? By generating content and content and content. And be in their face, literally. About 50% are never going to buy, but perhaps are going to give you as a reference. So if I want to buy a diamond, I'm going to buy a diamond from Lydia. Yeah? Or if I'm not going to buy a diamond now, and I know someone who's getting engaged, I'm going to say, look, don't buy a blood diamond, go and buy an ethically sourced diamond. So I'm giving reference. So this is very important also to know. And this is pretty much what you would expect as conversions from any kind of campaigns you do, whether it's digital or physical. So this is what we've been talking about, pretty much. It's a reversed, it's a funnel, and starts with the market, goes down to the message. Please put a lot of attention in the media, and start creating a lead magnet. A lead magnet could be case studies, could be a book you've wrote. I have a specific company that I'm coaching. They are offering specific services in the solar industry, and they are solving, they clean the panels in order for the panels to produce more energy. And there is a specific problem with lichen, which is a green bacteria or mycete that it covers the panels. And they have specific services and products to clean that, because that damages the actual glass, so the performance of the panels go down. So it's very important for your panels to be clean. So what I said to Steve is, Steve, you should actually make a white paper. So Steve sat down, created 10,000 words, and he called me a couple of months ago, and he was saying to me, Ypatios, I'm being called from Spain to go down and tell them how to clean the panels. How much should I charge? Should I charge the day rate? I should charge like £700. I said, how many days are you going there? He said, 2 days. You should be charging 4,000 then. He called me back an hour later and he said, yeah, I got the contract for 4,000. Why? Because he communicated his knowledge about a very specific subject. So he became an influencer he became the person, the go-to person for that specific subject. So he sold his time on value. So that's a very good example of what kind of content you can actually start producing for your businesses. And I don't care if you're a startup and you're starting now, if you have an idea, that idea derives from something, so you should be able better to talk about it. Glenn Carson is one of the co-founders in Dent, which is a global accelerator, and it says that profit comes from boring, repetitive stuff. So sales, guys, is not something that is, oh, he's an extra expert salesman. This guy has it natural, we say. That's not true. You have to be there making the phone calls, closing the appointments. I go to business and say, oh, we cannot sell. How many phone calls have you done this week? Oh, none. How are you supposed to sell then? What do you think the clients will come from? So sales is about repetition. Sales is about doing something boring. It's about consistency. It's about planning. So when people are saying to me, I want investment, I want 100,000 to do so, to do something, to develop my idea, to develop my plan, test your idea. Start selling your idea. If you cannot sell your idea, create something that you can take you to the market. If you cannot create an app that solves a specific problem, try to solve that problem on a physical way. If you achieve that and someone is willing to pay you, then let's discuss about the app, which will give you a greater reach. That's what app does. It just gives you a greater reach. But prove to me that you can actually sell the service before we go to a wider audience. This is something that I will leave you, and I'm finishing. I know it's late. I had a very long day myself. Something that I started with. If you think that pitching and raising finance is the difficult bit, wait until you see when you have 3 or 4 investors in your company, and you will start asking questions. Then we'll start. When are you going to deliver? When is my return of investment? What are you going to do this month? How are we making progress? Why are you hiring more people? You're not safeguarding my investment. This is the difficult bit, and this is something that even VCs or banks haven't taken seriously. That's why we're losing money left, right, and center. Because we've been concentrating on the start, but we haven't been concentrating ourselves to the after. So, on that note, guys, I will leave you with some inside information. We're working with CAS on a possible cooperation to create an exclusive invitation-only accelerator, and this will be on impactful businesses alone. We will launch this Q1 next year, so I'm happy to share everything through an email when the time is right. But also we are creating something else, which is tools and services for managing the after. Once I've put my money into something, what happens next? All right? So we'll keep you updated on that. Thank you very much for your attention. Happy to take any questions. No questions? Yes.
Just a general question.
Yes.
So I've just launched a startup. I've got a prototype and started pitching around 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for is advisors to question the business model, to open doors. What's the best way to attract those advisors, and how do you incentivize them at such an early stage?
How do you incentivize them? So first of all, I think you can get a lot of free resources and different accelerators. Universities are very good incubators for such situations. Within the entrepreneurship course, for example, we are offering mentorship services to our students that they want to start their own startups. So it's something that I say to my students: you have excellent mentors, take advantage of their time, because other people are actually paying us to offer the same advice that we're offering to you for free. So I'm volunteering in a lot of different situations, especially when you have impactful businesses involved into accelerators. So I do a lot of volunteering work. I think if you search around London, you will be able to find a lot of quality advisors. How do you incentivize them to come on board? Equity could be a discussion, but it's too early. So you don't even know how you evaluate your business or what kind of equity are you going to give them. It could be offering a service back. So if you are good on, I don't know, if you're good on something digital, if you can build a website, someone can say, okay, you offer me that time and you offer me that advice. In return, I will give you something. It's an exchange. Other than that, I cannot think of anything right now. Anyone else? No? Too tired? We need to go for a beer? All right, let's call it a night, guys. Thank you very much.